Howdy, my name is Connor Bowes, and today I'll be presenting towards a risk index for the U.S.-Mexico supply chains, a synthetic case of study in the U.S.-Mexico borderland ports of entry. The U.S.-Mexico border has a great significance for the movement of both people and products. Different supply chains, instrumental for the economy of both countries, are involved. In order to assess their state of risk and manage potential disruptions at the ports, this study proposes a risk index applied to the border ports of entry and their related U.S.-Mexico supply chains. This figure, bottom left, shows the location of 27 ports of entry distributed along the border, with the total 2019 pedestrian and passenger crossings to the U.S. for context. Regarding the commercial trade, the total value of imports and exports in 2019 were $358 and $256 billion respectively. The ports of entry represented 86% in value for imports and 84% for exports. Computer and machinery manufacturing and vehicles and vehicle parts are representative supply chains with traded value of supplies and products exceeding the 100 billion mark in 2019. In order to study the vulnerability of U.S.-Mexico supply chain, we generated indexes based on our risk framework as an extension of the CDC Social Vulnerability Index. Our risk framework is a function of threat, system vulnerability, and impact, which consists of a series of socioeconomic and public health system capacity from different data sources. For the U.S., 36 variables sourced from the American Community Survey and the COVID-19 Community Profile Report, among others, were selected based on their relevance. For Mexico, 21 variables were selected from the census from INEGI and Datos Abiertos platform by the Mexican government. Cumulative density functions are then constructed for each variable, and the raw data is converted to cumulative probability. For each category, the converted variables are summed, creating three indexes following the risk framework. The value of the index shown in the three maps is a relative value within each country. The resulting risk index map was used to assign a value for each port by taking the average risk index of adjacent counties on either side of the border. The bar chart shows the distribution of the total trade value in 5 different levels for risk for relevant supply chains. It was calculated considering the value of specific products and the risk index of the ports used for their trade. From the results of this synthetic case study, it can be concluded that most of the ports of entry have moderate to very high risk indexes, and that machinery manufacturing and vehicle parts supply chains have a total trade value above 100 billion each, with a significant percentage of it in high and very high risk indexes. The SGL risk index is a powerful tool to analyze binational supply chain vulnerabilities, and risk index valuables, together with the location of port of entry, can be used to study the effect that the state of vulnerability has on various metrics that affect supply chains. Thank you for your time and attention.